Are we live? It looks like we're live. The countdown thing is new, and there was some apprehension about whether or not that has broken everything. Has it broken everything? Can people see me? Am I here? We are live. Okay, awesome. Welcome to an extremely Hanukkah themed. I realized, one, I have to eat 2 donuts. Have to. Because there are only 2 Fridays left that the donut shop is open in December. And they only have these like seasonal donuts. So in an attempt to try all the donuts, I have to have 2 donuts. I have vegan kugel that I made today. And and you know, one of them is the Hanukkah themed Israeli donuts that I cannot pronounce. Sufaganyat. I don't know. I'm not good. I'm very bad at pronouncing Hebrew things. And the... What else? What else makes this Hanukkah... Oh, we realized this was the only Hanukkah only live stream during Hanukkah. Although... Sean says, Sufaganyot. Aaron said, pronounce all the letters. Which... It's like, I was like, but if in Hebrew the vowels are not written, can't you just not pronounce the vowels? Oh, I'm getting a lot of judgment, clearly. We have discussed how bad I am at pronouncing things. So, considering that I'm not great at it in my native language, I sure as heck am not in a language I don't speak at all. Anyway... Also, I'm just going to say, in this household, the kugel pronunciation was considered fine. This is the kugel, by the way, for folks that were curious about it. I've already had some. I think we have a picture of, like, the full dish, because I feel like it doesn't look like kugel unless it's in a full dish. It passed the review from the person who does eat the eggs. It is also no refined sugar. I guess it depends on whether you consider it refined, but... It's made with date sugar instead of like traditional refined sugar. So Claire says, I love you, even though you can't pronounce Hebrew or Yiddish. I can't pronounce like English. We've discussed that like I have the worst ear for differences in pronunciation. So if I didn't learn it from my environment, if you try to correct me, I can't tell, and it's, like, extra bad for someone who works in radio, so, Sean, the kugel recipe is from jewishfoodhero.com, so if you search, like, vegan kugel, it is a rabbi who became vegan like 10 years ago, and the reason I picked it is it was a very enthusiastic recipe, and I feel like when they're very enthusiastic, that's like I feel like it's a good sign. It called for Just Egg, which is a like brand name egg replacement, and because of that, there was no Just Egg at the Whole Foods that we shop at. So we got the, like, for the first time, I got the, like, follow your heart egg, vegan egg that was in the package. And I did not realize that 100% that egg is just what I use for egg replacer normally. And it was, like, it looked like an egg carton. Like, it was good branding because it looks like a little 4-egg carton. But inside is just a packet of powder, which is exactly what I do when I make my own egg replacer with flaxseed, which costs, like, a lot less money. So, yes. That is the recipe I used. The only thing was that I used date sugar, and I did a little bit less of the date sugar. But yeah, it worked. Follow your heart is like an aggressive brand instruction for a vegan egg replacement. So Follow Your Heart is actually a vegan cooperative from, I believe, San Francisco, maybe Davis. And they were the only vegan cheese game in the early 2000s. There was no one else that made vegan cheese. And their cheese wasn't, I'm going to say, it's not great. It's not, like, amazing. And they ended up reformulating it once dairy-free cheeses started to, like, plant-based started to become a trend, and, like, vegan became more mainstream. And it sucked to see Follow Your Heart, which is, like, this cute little cooperative, kind of get pushed out of the market by, like, a lot of large corporations. Like, most of the vegan cheese now in a grocery store, it's great how available it is now. Like, it was very hard to find in the Midwest at all, like, any kind of vegan cheese. But it did push them to, like, create better brands, like, better formulation, because vegan cheese, before a lot of brands got into the scene, like, I would say 8 years ago, it didn't melt. And it's still not, I won't say it's, like, amazing at melting, but it was really expensive for what was, like, pretty low quality. Now you can spend as much as you would spend on cheese. So, you know, at the lower end, you can get kind of like a corporate backed shredded cheese, vegan cheese, and it costs the same pretty much as, like, this shredded cheese that is not vegan. What do you call it? Dairy cheese, normal cheese. And so I've been happy that the market has grown. However, it is sad to see that that is mainly a result of really big players getting into the scene. Like, and even the smaller brands that, like, started eventually got acquired by really large brands. So, like, a lot of the brands that you'll see are actually, like, subsidiaries of Procter and Gamble and stuff now. So, not vegan cheese. Yeah. Because I worked in a vegetarian kitchen at where, like, people would come to us with tons of food needs, I always labeled everything whenever I had anyone over at any event. Like, even if I, like, cooked all the food, everything would have labels on it. You know, I hosted a lot of, like, volunteer nights and stuff, and so everything would have labels on it. And I wouldn't even think about it, and I would be like, not vegan, and then the people would point out that maybe my default assumption is. I had a coworker, like a very, very sensitive to the needs of others coworker, but she was like, I'm sorry I othered you by, like, you know, calling out as, like, vegan version of something or something. And I was like, it is the othering. I don't feel offended by this. I don't. Anyway. Welcome. The Kugel got a good review. Yes, the candles are very pretty Hanukkah candles. We're going for, like, the full blue background. Also, it's a very cute menorah. This is Aaron's menorah from childhood. So all of the children had a menorah, which apparently resulted in a small house fire at one point in time. So maybe having multiple children with menorahs is not great. I do kind of want the dinosaur menorah. It's not that I want it. It's that I really would like to get it for Aaron's nibblings, because one of them is, like, absolutely obsessed with, like, archaeology and dinosaurs and digging things up. So it's a safer menorah than what we had growing up. Is it because it's really tiny? It's very cute. The dinosaur menorah is unbearably awesome. I can't believe that Target is selling dog-shaped menorahs now. Like what? That's how you know that your religion that has a minority of people in the world following it has hit capitalist mainstream, that, like, the front page of Target has novelty menorahs for a relatively minor holiday. So I'm sure there's no, like, novelty Passover things because it's not conveniently located near another capitalist holiday. So Joe, hello, welcome. It is not Hanukkah time where you are at. It is not dark outside. Oh. My family had one menorah per person, but there was never a house fire. One of the cats burnt her whiskers off, though. We locked the door so the cat couldn't come in, as we were concerned about that. Yes, it is it's just a very cozy environment today. Should I introduce you to the donuts? Sufaganyat. How do you like that I pronounce it a different way every time? I'm just gonna call them Israeli donuts. I know how to pronounce Israeli. She did learn. She never got. Okay, so this is from the donut shop. And then this one is very interesting. I'm not actually sure I'm gonna like it, but it's just too aesthetic. There's so much aesthetically going on. We had to do it. It is a hot buttered rum and Coke donut. So there is a lot happening here. And then the kugel. I don't really like Coke, so I'm kind of concerned about it. Apparently it's like some kind of Coke powder they use in it. I don't really understand how it works. But, yeah, I know. It was like so visually appealing. I was like, oh, I have to get it. So I'm going to have to do 2 donuts next week as well. We were discussing if maybe we do, we move the 26th live stream to actually Christmas. And that is a good point. Claire said, I am concerned about Coke powder. Okay, scheduling things. We were wondering if maybe we can do a Chinese food mukbang on Christmas at the normal live stream time, because Christmas it's on a Friday this year. So we are considering that. Cola, not Coke. I guess that's fair, but Coke is a very specific flavor. So my mother was she was a master gardener, and she would compete in these like yard and like garden competitions when I was a kid. And I would brag about how she would win awards at these. And at one point I bragged about how my mom had the best pot plants. And my dad was like, you cannot brag about your mom having the best pot plants. You have to say potted plants. At least some people are in for Christmas. We were thinking we would do it at the same time. We are going to get Chinese food, but obviously we're not going to dine in like we normally do. We were also considering maybe a Christmas live stream and then a Die Hard viewing. I have never seen Die Hard, but I have been informed by many people it is a Christmas movie. And I do feel like maybe seeing it would help me understand the television show Brooklyn Nine-Nine better. So, Rural says, all carbonated beverages are Coke here. Order Coke in a drive-thru and they'll ask what flavor. Yes, that's how it is in Kentucky as well. Yeah, in Kentucky, everything is Coke. Like, Coke is it's the general term replacing pop and soda. I've never really figured out if Portland is a pop or a soda. Are we pop or soda here? You know. What, everybody put in the chat what you say. Do you say tonic, pop, soda, or Coke? Joe says that would be a perfect Boxing Day morning for me. Oh yes, it would be Boxing Day morning for you. We have at least 2 people that would come. Coke, soda, pop, soda, soft drink. I feel like I should have had people also put what part of the world they're from, because now it's just a list. Unless I'm in public, then soda. Wait, why is there a distinction between what you say at home and then what you say? Is it a general term for all pop, or is it like, do they need to protect their trademark there? Minnesota is special, that's why. Kenneth says, Oregon is usually pop to the old timers, but it's about 50-50 pop and soda now. Yeah, where I'm from, I don't know, I've mentioned before that, like, where I'm from, because it's on the border of the South and the Midwest, it's just like a weird mishmash of regional variations, and it's pretty much half and half where I'm from, too. So it kind of, like, it's just individual to the person. Oh. Wait, what do you say? You say soft drink, Joe. I mean, that seems fair. I feel like soft drink is like what like corporate menus say, I feel like, but not what is used in everyday conversation here. soda because I grew up in New York. It's like Hellman's Best Divide. I have to translate into Minnesotan. Okay, well, now we have thoroughly established that. Well, I can pronounce those things. I just can't pronounce anything in Yiddish or Hebrew, apparently. I'm frustrated because Yiddish seems it's closer to German, and I'm not going to say my German pronunciation is amazing, but I do know the rules of pronunciation in German, and it follows rules, unlike English that just like makes up rules, or unlike French, which has a bunch of rules and then it has like a list of exceptions that's so long they don't apply anymore. Oh, fizzy drinks. Oh, nice. Fizzy drinks is a really good one. Also, hello. Why are you up, Aaron? If you're in Northern Ireland, or maybe you're from Northern Ireland, because I was gonna say it's very early in the morning there. Oh, okay. Hellman's and Best is like it has to do with a mayonnaise brand. If you are, for example, someone who moves to the West Coast and assumes it's some kind of weird knockoff brand who stole Hellman's branding. I worked for Kroger grocery stores. I think I can say this because it was like 2 decades ago at this point. I worked for Kroger grocery stores, and they are founded in Cincinnati, but they're the largest grocery company in the world, and they own like almost every chain of grocery stores. And it is very fascinating to find out what Kroger has bought. And when I was doing the training video when I was like 15 or whatever, they showed a map of the US, and it just like it was showing like as they acquired different grocery stores, and the names would pop up on the screen, and then it just started like it was just popping, and it was just covered. And they have like I think they have over 400 different brand names for the different Krogers. They own so much. I weirdly used to live in an anarchist co-op with a lovely human who was the illegitimate son, I think I can say this, illegitimate son of one of the of the heir of the Kroger fortune. So didn't get to grow up with like the experience of being part of the Kroger dynasty, but did get some of the, like a very tiny amount of trust fund from it. But yeah, who's also just like a fabulously interesting person. Aaron is up. Oh, it's not long after 1 a.m. See, to me, that is the dead of night. I always have to remember that some people to which that is just a little late. Well, thank you for joining us, Aaron, even though it's ridiculously early. I feel like we need this map, but we also need people to be able to say what they call soda pop or Coke. I used to live in an anarchist co-op with the natural son of the Kroger heir is not where I expected this to go. I mean, just, yeah, welcome to my life. Wait, is Miracle Whip actually mayonnaise? This has never been clear to me. I thought Miracle Whip is like a different kind of mayonnaise. It's just a thing that you put on everything in the Midwest, as far as I understand. But should we talk about the economy, or should I eat one of these many foods in front of me? Oh, okay. Everybody is very strongly telling me that Miracle Whip is not mayonnaise. I wasn't following the chat closely, but it sounded like Miracle Whip was another brand of mayonnaise, but it is a type of mayo, but a different product. Okay. Is it actually whipped? Is that why it's called that? I thought it was like a low-fat version of mayonnaise, but I don't really understand how you make low-fat mayonnaise, since like the base of mayonnaise is eggs, which is like ridiculously rich in all sorts of things. I thought Miracle Whip is the cream that comes out of a can. No, Miracle Whip is like in a... It's made from water, soybean oil, high fructose corn syrup, vinegar, modified cornstarch, eggs, natural flavor, mustard, salt. Okay, I don't know why I'm reading the entirety of the ingredients list. It's very fascinating, though. It's super sweet and closer to salad dressing. Yeah, it, like, comes out of a tub. It's not whipped cream, despite being called Miracle Whip. It is not whipped cream. I feel like with all this Coke discussion, I should probably start with this one. Okay. Miracle Whip was developed as a cheaper alternative in 1933 Germany. Interesting. Okay. We're gonna try this. Sauce condiment. Alright, we've already seen it. It really has quite a beautiful contrast to the background today. That straw. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Oh, it tastes like cola. Oh. It's very, like, I don't know, the inside is just regular donut, but it looks like the cream goes all the way through. So it's just regular, kind of dense donut. I forgot this always happens. Should I use the straw to, like, lift up some of this? Oh, okay. So this tastes like cola flavor. I'm actually kind of, I'm now coming around to the cola flavor. It's starting to feel nostalgic to me. It looks a bit like a caramel turd. Thanks for saying that while I'm eating it. It's good. It has a lot going on. Are you waiting? Someone is looking like the cat. Just staring at me, waiting for... Use the straw to drink the frosting. I don't think that's gonna work. The cream is pretty thick. I can try, though. We can do this experiment. I got a little bit of it through. The donut shop that made this, when they posted this, they were like, we don't want to hear about the waste of the tiny straws. All right, people, it's 2020. We all need some joy in our lives. Okay. All right. This is really a thing. Okay, I'm gonna have the Kugel while I discuss the stimulus bill. It's really, I mean, I've already tasted it, so it's really just cold Kugel now. That's it. I don't know if I have to give a review. It tastes accurate. Proof it exists, though. I don't really want pasta right now, though. Oh, David pointed out that the menorahs... Oh, you're correct. Wait, isn't it just because it's backwards on the video? There, Latin alphabet menorah. We're working our way backwards. It's a 2020 menorah. Oh, Joe is getting donuts. Can you get donuts, like, on a shopping list? 2020 menorah would set your cat on fire. Oh, in 2020 news, two things. I feel like 2020 news should have been a recurring segment on this live stream. But, number one, so you may not know this, but minks caught a minks in Denmark, which is like a large percentage of their economy. It was Denmark, right? Did I make that up? Yes. Minks in Denmark were getting COVID-19, and they were getting like a mutation of it that was resisting treatment or whatever, and it was jumping from minks to humans. So they killed all of the minks in the country. It's like 21 million minks in the country are being killed. But apparently, according to USA Today, which is not the best news source, but not a fake news source, the minks are rising from the dead. There are zombie minks infected with COVID-19. They buried them in shallow graves, and so there are zombie minks. So that's great. That's pretty much all you need to know about that, is apparently they're zombie minks. Their new plan is to bury them in deeper graves. So, yeah. If you had that on your 2020 bingo list, another thing was that after 51 years, they cracked one of the Zodiac killers. I mean, I was going to say this is all very dark, but all 2020 news is dark. But after 51 years, they cracked the Zodiac killer's, like, cipher. So, welcome to December 2020. I like how everybody's response to zombie minks is just, oh. The government later said it wanted to dig up those mink again after some resurfaced from the mass graves, most likely due to gases from the decomposition process. Cool! Can you imagine the memos that would have generated? Oh yeah, I like how our resident engineer is like, first, the ecological destruction. I mean, I find it very interesting to see what the mink, what happens to the Danish economy, because the mink trade is such a large percentage of their trade. And this is not just happening in Denmark with minks getting COVID-19. In Oregon, one of the mink farms here had COVID-19 outbreak. So, like, what is this going to do to the global mink industry? Are we going to see the rise up of the minks? Someone I know that was a Animal Liberation Front activist, who also wrote a long-running zine when he was running away from the law that many people know about. Anyway, he ended up being in prison for like 7 years, I think, for freeing a bunch of minks. But one of the fundraiser, like, band things for him was this, like, album that a bunch of, like, I don't know, animal rights bands had put together of songs as a fundraiser for him. But they had this poster that was all of the minks rising up and getting him out of prison, which is just, it's actually a really gorgeous poster. It's worth looking up. Peter Minks, I don't know. I guess you could probably find it. The zine is called Evasion, if you're ever interested in how to evade the law. It was anonymously written for a very long time. Evasion is like a classic zine in the, like, anarcho community, and nobody knew who it was. And then later, after he got out of prison, it was revealed that it was him, and, like, the timeline lined up perfectly with when he was escaping the law. Anyway, got real off track here. However, there's a very beautiful poster of minks coming back to free him, and I am very curious. I feel like this has turned into a weird vegan propaganda live stream, which is, like, literally never what I want to do. It's just that we have a lot of vegan food today. Weirdly, we're talking about minks. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what happens with the fur economy. There are now 6 species, non-human animal species, that have developed COVID-19. The most recent one is snow leopards. So, how do you treat the groundwater? Wait, do they drink groundwater in Denmark? But it would affect the local rivers eventually. That is an interesting point. Oh, yes, I really want to know about this. On the third night of Hanukkah, we celebrate whatever is happening here. Thank you. On the third night of Hanukkah, we celebrate we're alive in 2020. I mean, I feel like Hanukkah is the perfect holiday for 2020. It's all about like, instead of cursing the darkness, light, bring in some light. And I feel like that's what we all need in 2020. Let's talk about the stimulus bill so that I at least have some economic content in case we get back to only talking about food and zombie minks. So, how did they give COVID to snow leopards? I don't know, but I don't. Apparently, house cats can get it too, and people have been getting it, but people have been giving it to their cats and vice versa. So, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Claire is in for the vegan propaganda live stream. Here's the thing. That's not really my goal. I'm not very good at vegan propaganda. Unless it's like the subtle, like, I just enjoy eating food that happens to be vegan. But I'm a very bad animal rights activist. For one, my drug is extremely unvegan, so snow leopard should not be indoors with you. I'm assuming it was a snow leopard, like, that was in captivity. I think it's only like 2 snow leopards that have gotten it. And someone has to take care of those snow leopards. Although you'd think that if you're taking care of a snow leopard, you would always maintain 6 feet away. But, like, think about all those pandas in captivity. Because based on my extensive watching of panda, like, keeper videos, they are constantly attacking the humans and cuddling them and trying to get them to play. So I feel like they could give them there. Oh, was that the Kentucky Zoo? Okay, so stimulus bill. I originally set this to I like your extremely, like, you know a lot about snow leopards, Sean. Why do you know a lot about snow leopards? You're like, oh, you can get closer than 6 feet in protective contact. What? Why do you know this about snow leopards? I need to understand what life experiences led you to the point where you understand how close you can be to snow leopards, because to me it seems like you should never be that close to a snow leopard. I just feel like keepers are in more prolonged close contact than I'd assume given the murder kitties. I just wanted to say that because murder kitties is a wonderful, very pretty murder kitties, though. I mean, sometimes my cat is a murder kitty. I feel like this is doing a very excellent job of showing how long we are in the live stream. Okay, stimulus bill. When I originally said we were going to talk about the stimulus bill, it was because they said they were going to pass something this week. However, yesterday they did a 1-week extension on the current bill. So the reason a stimulus bill needs to get passed: 1, rental protections and extended unemployment ends the day after Christmas, so December 26th. So the extra $300 a week that people have been getting on unemployment, which for a lot of people is making it possible to live off unemployment, because in a lot of states it's not anywhere, it doesn't even replace minimum wage. And the so rental eviction protections are expiring end of year. Extra unemployment is ending on December 26th. People need money. Like, people need to get money to them, people that are in economic crisis. And they need to get money to state and local governments. So state and local governments are in, like, free fall right now. Obviously, state and local governments pick up part of the tab for Medicaid, which is low-income health care. And they pick up... they have huge administrative burdens as far as the coordination of COVID-19 responses, while also having to still maintain their cities, while need is at a really great, like, there's so much more need going on right now. And they still have to, like, function and run. And state and local governments are required to have a balanced budget. They don't get to print money like the federal government does. And because of that, they do need, like, a federal bill passed. The good news is that It's bipartisan, the support for state and local governments. They need it. Essentially, it is the funding that gets to public hospitals, public universities, unemployment systems, all of that money. There is bipartisan agreement about extending that, finding a way to do it. The problem that we're stuck on. So President Donald Trump has signaled his approval for both bills that the Democrats have passed. However, the Senate Republicans are held up on one big thing. And this one big thing is liability protection for businesses. So the Chamber of Commerce, which, as you may know, is one of the largest it is the largest business lobbying group in the United States. They have been pouring money into trying to get Congress to pass a protection, essentially, for corporations to not be liable when people contract COVID-19 in their workplace, at their school, things like that. And this is a sticking point right now for the Democrats, mainly because it's not very attractive to be like, oh, we're holding up getting people actual money that they need, extending unemployment benefits, preventing a housing crisis in the middle of the pandemic, making sure that state governments can deliver all the vaccines that they're getting, and working out at the state level. There are thousands of workers right now. Like, I'm seeing this in my day job in transit. There are so many government workers that are being furloughed and may not have a job if there isn't a stimulus package to state and local governments by the end of the year. That's transit. That is, law enforcement at the local level. That is mental health services at county and state levels, like all of that. And that is bipartisan. But the Democrats really don't want to pass any sort of corporate liability protection. And this is this big bad fear that hasn't actually really happened yet of people suing corporations for contracting COVID at their workplace or contracting COVID at their school or their business. And it's not that Democrats are completely opposed to it. However, they kind of don't want to pass the blanket bill that the Republicans are trying to push forward. So they have a 1 week extra bill, and Friday they need to pass another spending bill, or they need to come up with a plan, because the government will be out of money. Like, we've been through a shutdown before, and ain't nobody want a government shutdown over the holiday break while also in the middle of a pandemic. Just no one wants that. So that is that's kind of where we're at. Next Friday, December 18th, is going to be kind of the day that people are hoping, essentially, that something will get passed. Any other questions about this? No, it will not include a stimulus check right now. Some of the more liberal Democrats have tried to put forward additional stimulus spending, like another check of $1,200 to all Americans. Probably would have about the same qualification as the last round, which I talked about extensively in different live streams and talked about on the podcast as well. But it would also be $500 for each kid. It's very unlikely. That is not in the spending bill that Republicans are considering. It's very unlikely that is going to get passed during this lame duck session. Our worst case scenario is that Congress goes on recess for the holidays and goes home without solving these problems. So, I mean, there's so many issues with that, like unemployment not being extended for people, the extra unemployment money not being extended, not being able to get this money to state and local governments who we are relying on to get these vaccines out to people. So all of these things, very frustrating. So that's where we're at with the stimulus bill. I wish I had more concrete news, unfortunately, about it. Really hoped that it was going to get passed this week because it sounded like it was going to. But once again, they're arguing about things and can't seem to do their jobs like they haven't been able to do for the past 6 months since they were supposed to pass another one. It's a much smaller stimulus bill than last round, less money overall, which, as mentioned, that last stimulus bill was the largest stimulus in American history. So, it's definitely less money. Incidentally, related to the last stimulus, very fascinating statistics have come out, and Americans actually have more disposable income than they've ever had before. And the question is like, okay, well, if we're a consumer-driven economy, why, and people have more disposable income, why isn't it getting spent? And also, when so many people are in financial crisis, why does America have more disposable income? There's a couple answers to this question. First one, why do people have more disposable income when we're in financial crisis? Well, one, a lot of people kept their jobs. And those people have less places to spend it right now with, concert venues being closed, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people that did keep their jobs in essential services ended up having more income because they were getting paid hazard pay or getting overtime because they work in production facilities, work in shipping, receiving, all of those things. And then people that were receiving unemployment, a lot of people were getting more than their previous income. Or they were matching their previous income. And that extra $1,200 that a lot of Americans got, if you didn't lose any income during the pandemic, then that, represents a real increase in your overall income, that $1,200-ish, depending on your income. So the thing is the reason the economy is not doing stellar, despite the fact that we are a consumer-driven economy, people have more disposable income. One, there's not places to spend it, right? So there's less places to spend it. People can't travel, there's not concert or entertainment or bars or restaurants, a lot of those are closed. Two, people are saving it, which is exactly what we do in almost every country in the world during a recession. We save during times of economic uncertainty for the future. So the savings rate in the US is actually extremely high right now. It is close to, the overall personal savings rate in the US is, I think last quarter that I saw was at 26%, which is close to what the Chinese personal savings rate is, which has the highest personal savings rate in the world. So very fascinating to see what is happening with American consumer habits. This is not going to be fast recovery, though. We've talked about this. Remember how we were obsessed with, is it going to be V-shaped, U-shaped, L-shaped? What is it? It's kind of seems like right now it's going to be like this. So, it was a huge dip, economic activity, whoomp. And then it's been at this pretty much low level all around. And it looks like it's going to be kind of like, and then like a slow curve back up, but it's like a really long curve. So that seems like what it is going to be. The economy is not just going to come back online the second the vaccine is there. I did listen to a really interesting report from, I think, Marketplace that was looking at business travel. Bill Gates said this week that he believes that 25% of business travel from before will disappear, will never come back. So, it will, even once the economy is roaring at its previous level, 25% of business travel will just be replaced by all of these things that business travel has now been replaced by. So, yes. That's what's going on with the economy. I see that the chat is mostly dominated by people contemplating if their cats could kill them. So, we're doing great. Denise volunteered at a zoo, so that's why she knows about snow leopards. But Sean, I noticed, just left out why he knows about snow leopards. Oh, we were definitely closer than 6 feet because most of the big cats wanted to say hi and headbutt. I have a question. When a snow leopard headbutts you, does it knock you off your balance? Because sometimes when my 10-pound cat headbutts me, it knocks me off my balance. So I feel like when a snow leopard does that. Local cop can and would murder me if she thought it would be to her advantage. And then Emily says, is local cop your cat? Yes. Sean says, I'm an animal trainer. I know how zoos, sanctuaries, and other facilities work with dangerous animals. They use protective contact. Yes, that makes sense. Also very interesting. Please tell me if snow leopards knock you over when they headbutt you. It's very interesting. Anybody have any questions about the stimulus, personal savings rates? I can't really answer any questions about business travel because I have just listened to that marketplace report, but... Maybe we can help Latitude think of sounds that sound like local cop so that Latitude can replace local cop's name. Should I keep procrastinating? Are you procrastinating? Are you asking, like, in an economic sense, should you keep procrastinating, or just, like, generally? Because I can tell you what I'm doing, which is 100% procrastinating. Let's eat this donut. All right. Israeli donut. Sufaganat. Sufaganat. Nyat. You need to say the nyat. I'm just getting a lot of shaking behind the camera. Soda Pop. Soda Pop is actually not a bad cat name. Sufaganyot. Sufaganyot. Okay, there we go. Hi, David. I don't know if I've seen you on one of these live streams before. I like how when I mispronounce things, people that are lurking on the live stream start coming out. Be queer, make stuff. I need to figure out when to look for a job. That is what I'm wondering on if I should keep procrastinating on from an economic recovery perspective and a vaccine holding pattern perspective. That's an interesting question. Like, I think that procrastinating is an interesting question. I don't know if you are going to go back to a role, because I know in your last role you were able to work from home, but like not all the time during COVID time because you were, I think, in essential services, right? I would make the argument that I would embrace the job process, but I would do it very low key, because I think one of the hardest parts about looking for a job, especially in an economic downturn, is when you feel like you have that like ticking, oh no, this really needs to happen. And I know you have like some buffer. So what I would recommend is maybe start looking for a job, but you're looking for a job at a rate of like one a week versus like the really kicking things back up. So yeah. Sofa. It's Sufa. Sufka. I don't know why you think I'm gonna be able to get this. Sufganyot. I got a little bit of this. Maybe it's better. Yeah, I understand not wanting to job search in 2020. It's like add one of the most unpleasant activities known to man to one of the most unpleasant years. Ugh. Emphasize the ga. Okay, wait, hold on. Oh no, the pronunciation guide went off the screen. I was just reading that every time. Sufganyot. I keep trying. That's so true. Here, I'm gonna eat this Israeli donut that I can't pronounce. Let's have it. It's lingonberry, which I also can't pronounce. So you can all correct my pronunciation of lingonberry as well, which is, I'm pretty sure, Norwegian. So we're all just a mess. Anyway. It has powdered sugar on the top, but unfortunately the powdered sugar is kind of like, it's been out for quite a while. I think you're trying to pronounce it like Russian. I'm not, you're really ascribing a little too much strategy See, this is why I need to learn IPA. Because I'm so bad at, like, even reading other people's non-IPA pronunciation guides that I have to make my own pronunciation guides for everything. I just feel like, the nameless donut. It is entirely filled with lingonberry jam here. I mean, look how good it looks inside. It's great. I do feel like the ratio of jam to donut is like, there's more donut than jam that I'm used to. It's so heavy. I cannot tell you how heavy this is. This is half of a relatively small donut, and it's like, you can like hear it. I've just always heard them called Israeli donuts. Like, that is what I have previously heard them called. I think some Googling is happening right now. It's true. Israel is full of Ashkenazi now. Is it tart or sweet? It's an interesting question. It's more sweet than tart, unfortunately. I really like it has some tartness to it, but it is definitely more sweet than tart. Wait, is that Hebrew or Yiddish? It sounds Hebrew. It's Hebrew, right? The word I can't say is Hebrew. The Smitchin Kitchen recipe for them is funny because it's full of people in the comments sharing their various words for jelly donuts. I'm glad to know that, like, I wasn't the only person, because I have, like, I saw it and immediately knew what it was, and then I saw the name for it, and I was like, but I thought that was, like, just an Israeli donut. So, apparently there's just, like, a lot of different words for them. So, did you find the origin of it in Googling? I see lots of pictures of jelly donuts on the screen over there, so Wikipedia says it's Hebrew. I figured it was Hebrew because usually if something is Yiddish, I can decently guess at the pronunciation. Yiddish is like surprisingly mutually intelligible to me as someone who speaks German decently high intermediate, I guess. I was very surprised the first time I heard like Yiddish on TV after I learned German, because I heard it like as a kid, but I didn't speak any German, didn't take German in school, and even though I'm from a town where like German is the probably largest immigrant population there, anyway, I heard Yiddish all the time. Couldn't understand what was being said at all. Tried to learn Yiddish when I was in like 7th grade. And got made very thorough fun of. And now when I hear it on TV, I can get like, I would say 80%. I feel like it's like Portuguese to Spanish maybe. So I think they are Israeli in the sense of it is the combo of immigrants in the first half of 20th century to Israel, both Ashkenaz and Marahi. It is a round jelly donut eaten in Israel and around the world on the Jewish festival of Hanukkah. Great. I mean, cool. Oh, does anybody know that anybody that knows things about Poland, so they have like a holiday where they have like a specific donut that they're like, that's the point of the holiday in Poland, is just like they eat a bunch of these donuts. They're not related to these, are they? David says, I get a little German because I grew up with grandparents who spoke Yiddish. It's so interesting to me because it's essentially German, but then the written form of it is Hebrew, right? It's like the Hebrew alphabet for German. I feel like at some point I should have learned this in my life. Like failing. Joe says, I did not know that jelly donuts were related to Hanukkah. Well, welcome. Welcome to this culture. Yiddish is like German with a thick accent written in Hebrew letters. That's kind of accurate. It, like, Yiddish always sounds like German with a Brooklyn accent to me, which just, like, clearly speaks to, like, who I know that speaks Yiddish. But, because probably there's, like, a Yiddish Brooklyn accent versus in other parts of the world, there's probably, like, a German Yiddish accent or something like that. I don't know. Oh, the language itself is a blend. Okay. Yeah, that's probably the words that I, like, don't get. Yes, it is. It's related to Hanukkah because it's fried, and that's it. That's the point of the holiday. Also, you know, miracles, the oil lasted a long time. Let's eat fried things. It's the main point of the holiday. You know, celebrate some miracles and get to eat delicious food. Honestly, I think it's the best winter holiday because it revolves around eating delicious food, like sitting around with family, and making pretty light fires when it's dark outside. Like, I don't know, I think it's a pretty great holiday. I also kind of like with Islam and Judaism, because they're on the lunar calendar, you never quite know when the holidays are gonna fall. Because they didn't win when writing calendars. So I appreciate that every year it's sort of this zest of when is it going to fall. So the holiday of fuel economy. That's true. They tried to kill us. They failed. Let's eat. I mean, isn't that like every Jewish holiday? Every Jewish holiday is they tried to kill us and they failed. Let's eat. They tried to kill us. We were in slavery. We got out. Let's eat. Like, I mean, roughly that's like Jewish tradition mostly. Sometimes it is let's not eat it all day and then let's eat. So, which is like, I don't know. I feel like Islam is in many ways more hardcore because they have like 30 days of not eating all day and then eating at night. And Judaism is like, well, it's 2. Really 1, but kind of 2. I actually saw a table on Tumblr that showed which of the 3 Jewish holidays it applies to. There are surprisingly few that fit all 3. Interesting. This is very fun. Christian holidays have Easter for unpredictability and lunar cycles. I don't know when Easter is. I'm not informed about Christianity. I'm sorry. Everything I know about Christianity, I learned in humanities. Well, besides like what I learned from the culture of it being the dominant paradigm, was what I learned from being in humanities 110 in college. And they like made us read the Old Testament. And I was like, wow, this is a wild book. They made us read the Old Testament and then they made us read like some parts of the New Testament. And I felt like, yeah. I guess there's 6 fast days in Judaism, but there's not 6 in a row. Also, some of the fast days are kind of minor holidays. And like Ramadan is like it's like the big holiday. And I feel like more people that are kind of casual Muslims are likely to do Ramadan, and I feel like some of the fast holidays in Judaism are like very minor holidays. So 30 days in a row is a lot. I think it's like so much harder for people that are not in Muslim majority countries that then have to like take exams and stuff without drinking any water or food, because you can't you can't alter your life for 30 whole days the way that it is done in countries where it's, you know, Muslim majority. Apparently, the donuts became popular in Israel because of a 1920s bakery labor union push to do so. Of course. I mean, that's the same with, like, Christianity, right? Is, like, the whole reason the Catholic Church has this whole, like, fish thing during Lent was, like, also an economic stimulus and had to do with, like, lobbying. I will say, I'm not, like, super clear on that. That's what I read, but as you can tell, I don't remember all the details, but that's also how the bagel was invented. It was a dodge around an oven tax. Please tell me there's somewhere I can read about this. What, is it because there's a hole in the middle? What? I love tax dodging is the invention of ingenuity. Like, it brought us bagels. We owe so much to it. My family just got some of the Maxwell House Haggadahs for a few years because our Seder keeps growing. The Haggadah collection is eclectic, still is. What? So, interesting. It's all because capitalism. Yes, all religions are because capitalism. It's because they are boiled. The tax was on oven use. I love this, and I'm gonna 100%, yes, Ash, real bagels are boiled. If you're having non-boiled bagels, they are not bagels, and they are terrible, and you should not eat them. They're just fluffy bread with a hole in the middle. Should I do an Oh My Dollar episode on the bagel tax situation? I desperately want to know more about this. I need an excuse. Don't tell the Great British Bake Off yet. Oh. Okay, Bagel Tax Podcast is voted for by at least one person. I just, like, really want to do this. It sounds great. Ash says, I didn't know how they were made. I like making bagels. They're actually quite fun to do. We are almost down to the end of the candles, which is clearly the end of the live stream. So, it's great. They're, like, legit 1 hour candles, aren't they? Because we lit them. I guess they're slightly over 1 hour candles, but okay, bagel tax episode. Well, I will try to do it on this one. I used to work for a woman who made bagels. I was like a bagel delivery person, and she is like, she's a New York Jew who moved out here and could not handle how there were no good bagels on this coast and started a bagel company. I feel like she'd be an excellent interviewer for that. Like, she'd be a good interviewer. I also, related to Jewish history, I really want to do an episode on, so I have, what is it called? Aaron, what's the thing that I have with numbers? It's like the color thing. Can't think of it. I have synesthesia. Which I didn't know as an adult, until I was an adult. I have synesthesia for numbers. I assign personalities to numbers. Apparently that's synesthesia. And I've always been this way. I just didn't know that it was like a thing and it wasn't just like a weird personality quack. What's the thing I have with numbers? Hey, you got it. You got it. So I have synesthesia for numbers, and I have really wanted to interview someone about the mysticism in Judaism around numbers and, like, get an expert on to see if some of that, like, numerology mysticism, it has an actual name, like, matches up with my number personalities. And I met someone else who has synesthesia, hopefully I can still get a hold of, who does, like, day trading based on their synesthesia. And I, like, definitely want to do this episode, but it hadn't really been a priority this year for reasons, as you may imagine. So, anyway, I feel like I can just, like, get a hold of a rabbi and just, like, knock all these episodes out. So, yeah. Bagels should be given as a gift to women after childbirth. Agreed. Kenneth says there's exceptions in Islam for fasting for sickness and travel, and I know some people who define travel pretty broadly. I have a friend who's from Jordan, lives here, and she, technically, you can fast for the hours of Mecca. So if you're not in Mecca, you're allowed to fast based on the hours of Mecca, which happens to be mostly the middle of the night in Portland. And she's very deeply committed to her loopholes and usually fasts during Ramadan for the hours of Mecca, which means that she only has to fast for like a couple daylight hours. So Ramona says, do you mean Paxi? I can talk about Paxi. Oh yeah, you're in a part of the country that has a lot of those. I do not speak Polish at all. Paxi? Paxki? Ki? No, ki is not how you say ki. Paxki? They have so many Z's and things. When I was in Poland, I figured out that you just add E to the end of everything. There was a bars that was just called Shotsies. And everything, that's the actual word for shots there. I'm so excited about this. So, I will say that I think that the Semitic religions are very into rules. Like, you know, obviously it's the rules for living, and that, you know, you'll achieve better status with God in the afterlife if you follow these rules. But I must say, it seems like there's also a great devotion to loopholes as a matter of that. Like, you see this in, like, Brooklyn with the lines that they put up that on the Sabbath so you can, like, carry things inside of Brooklyn that, like, extend the lines of the home. And, like, the loopholes are, like, part of it, right? I don't know. I'm clearly not a religion scholar. I don't know why I'm going off. Yeah. Not lines. I couldn't remember the word for it. I was like, the things that go up. It's a legal fiction based on a communitarian view of the world. Yeah. Don't get me started on loopholes and what I think of them. I think there's some degree of value in the collectively all working very hard to agree what the loopholes are. Right? I don't know. Wait, where is the N? Am I pronouncing an N? It wouldn't be surprising if I'm pronouncing an N. Punchki? Punchki? Patski? A string run around a place does not make it a walled city. I mean, I feel like you also, David, take things very, like, literally, and that is I think that's one of your, like, great gifts in life, but I could see that loopholes would drive you absolutely nuts, so. What is white steak? I don't understand what that is. Someone needs to explain that to me, what that is. We're running out of daylight here, back here. I'm gonna eat the rest of this. It's good. Collectively all agreeing what the loopholes are is what a society is. That's fine. That is true. And religious communities are like, that is society. It's like the original, yeah. Loopholes are just more rules. It makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm making everybody hungry. I mean, it is Hanukkah, so go eat some greasy things. There'll always be loopholes because you can't codify everything. So, related to economic news, interestingly enough, the Trump administration is trying to push up the deadline for healthcare regulations to be reviewed. So originally they weren't like due to be reviewed before the end of 2024, I think. And he's trying to push it up that they will need to be reviewed by the end of next year. And this is like a super sneaky, interesting way to try to dismantle the ACA after he's in office, because healthcare regulations is such a huge project and undertaking. And in the midst of trying to fight a pandemic and get a vaccine out to everyone, really not what you want your government healthcare regulators focusing on. And so this is a very interesting, sneaky thing that they are trying to do. And it's like, the problem is if all of these regulations don't get reviewed, it could bring down the ACA. Very fascinating thing. That is about all I know about it, but I may do an episode on it. Oh, David, this story is so excellently like you're like, hey, this is the literal definition. I remember one time when I was young, I went into the coffee shop in a bookstore. They had a sign that said free milk, and I ordered milk and drank it. Then they tried to charge me. I fought it. Did you win, though? You fought it, but did you win? White steak is pork, but you aren't supposed to talk about it. What? I like finding a loophole that allows me to do what I think is right. I just think some of them are a stretch. I mean, that's fair. True in religion and software development. I promised a Hanukkah themed live stream and we had a lot more Hanukkah content than I thought. A lot of... Before I finished fighting, my father came and paid. Fair enough. But you were committed to it. Okay, y'all. This has been lovely. We're down to the end of the candles here in the menorah, so it is time to be done. Have a lovely Saturday evening. I guess before we go out, I should ask, what are you excited about this week? And if you have a final vote on whether or not we should move the 26th live stream to the 25th, which will be Christmas Day, Christmas evening for most folks, let me know. Because I'm very curious what you're up to this week. What am I up to? Do I have anything exciting happening this week? I'm shipping out packages. Packaging tea tomorrow. Oh, very excited about bagels. Now I want bagels, but I previously did not want them. I'm excited about finding an excuse to write this bagel episode. Emily's your last full week at your current job and ordered sushi for dinner. I didn't realize that you were leaving your current job. Congratulations. I hope it's like, I mean, there's a celebratory icon after it's my last full week, so I think that's good. Ooh, Ash found a new online community. Sean is getting new tires on his van. I should make bagels. No one is making bagels this week. I don't think I'll be here whether you live stream on the 25th or 26th, so it doesn't matter to me. Okay, fair enough. Denise is in for the 25th. Brianna is in for the 25th. Great. All right. This sounds like a thing. I will see if people want to maybe do a Die Hard stream. We'll probably do like a regular live stream, and then optionally, if people want to do like a watch party, we have to figure out where and how one can collectively watch Die Hard together. So I will work on that, and it will be an optional post show if you're gonna stay up late on Christmas or you're on the West Coast US, and therefore it would not be that late. So, have a lovely week. I'm excited for all of you, and I hope that you get to have many bagels and donuts you can't pronounce this week, and stay safe, stay hydrated, and pet a cat if you have one available, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.